Chat TV acknowledges that we are broadcasting within Treaty 7 and Treaty 4 territory. We are proud to uphold the rich tradition of storytelling on this land. We recognize and respect the historical and cultural ties to the land shared amongst Indigenous peoples in all communities we broadcast to.
Tonight on Chat News, how do you feel?
Asking for help is a sign of strength as well, and so we don't want people to live in silence.
Today is Blue Monday, for some, the most depressing day of the year. And it restarts tonight. The Tug on the Post Music Festival is a combination of storytelling through history and raw modern music. Plus, in sports, the Medicine Hat Police Service and the Medicine Hat firefighters played sledge hockey against each other this weekend.
From Medicine Hat, this is the Chat Evening News with Dan Reynish.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Donald Trump, who overcame impeachments, criminal indictments, and a pair of assassination attempts to win another term in the White House, was sworn in this morning as the 47th U.S. president. He takes charge as Republicans claim unified control of Washington and set out to reshape the country's institutions. Trump's swearing-in ceremony was moved indoors due to intense cold. Executive orders have been prepared for his signature to clamp down on border crossings, increase fossil fuel development, and to see an end of diversity and inclusion programs across the federal government. Now, we will have more on the Trump inauguration coming up in just a few minutes here on Chat News. Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for watching tonight. Today is Blue Monday, observed by many as the most depressing day of the year. This takes into account weather conditions and the time of year, being 1 month into winter. Multiple resources are available throughout Medicine Hat to assist anyone who's struggling, particularly at this time of year. Jake Sturkenberg brings us this story.
Jeremy Fontaine, professional psychologist at Keys to Hope Counseling Services, says that winter can be seen as a time one must get through.
It can be easy to fall into a trap of looking at winter as, you know, kind of like a write-off. Like, all right, we just got to survive this. We just got to get through it.
Fontaine says that he understands that there are many difficult aspects of winter. He says sometimes we may need to step back and consider whether time has been taken for ourselves.
Sometimes you can get to the point where maybe you are pushing those feelings down and you kind of feel down and you're constantly in a state of not feeling great. And then you can kind of fall into this cycle of just generally feeling like things are bad just based on the season.
Selena Simmons, executive director at Medicine Hat Family Service, says that mental health is something that applies to everyone. She says that community can be the answer to all problems if accessed correctly.
I'm a big believer that community actually solves all problems. And when we reach out to our community, we're always amazed at the care and consideration that happens and the support that's out there. And so I just encourage people to, like I said, look around and see that there's a ton of community here that wants to support you. You are not alone.
Coralie Ron, director of facility-based services with Recovery Alberta, says that there is help available and there's always hope.
Asking for help is a sign of strength as well, and so we don't want people to live in silence and to suffer in silence.
Ron says that for those who may not be willing to reach out to resources, to normalize mental health concerns.
So I would say to normalize things. We all struggle with things throughout our life, and we know that 1 in 4 of us will have a mental health concern at some point in our life. And we know that only half of the people actually reach out to support.
The Medicinet College has a student-led peer support group that offers drop-in sessions every Wednesday and Friday. Amanda Charlton, mental health programmer at the college, says that it's much more beneficial for people to talk with someone who's going through the same thing.
I think mental health is something that is very broad, and not everyone is ready to come and seek formal support, so I think it's a really good informal way to support students.
Caitlin Kelly is a student of the college who is a peer supporter in the program. She says that it's really important for students to have someone to talk to of a relatable nature.
I find a students sometimes get kind of white coat syndrome with counselors, in the sense that, you know, it's someone in a very official position. They're kind of a different walk of life. They might be quite a bit older, and it can be intimidating.
Kelly says that the support isn't goal-oriented and is easier for students to open up through. Sarah Manning, another student peer supporter, says that some people may not be ready for that step to meet with a counselor.
Because sometimes somebody just needs a smile, and so they see you and they might say, hi, how's your day going? And you might have a quick conversation with them, and that honestly can just be what that person needs for that day.
Fontaine says that there are definitely people who do experience seasonal affective disorder. He says that it is a form of depression and that they'll experience symptoms very similar to other forms of depression.
It isn't quite as simple as, okay, like I feel down because the seasons are shifting. It's an actual process in your body that might be more complicated.
Fontaine says that there are some things that are in our control and some that are not. There are things that will happen in our bodies and brains without us realizing or understanding. He says, however, that there are things that we can do as a result to get on top of those issues. Jake Sturkenberg, Chat News.
Now, if you are feeling sad or depressed in Alberta, you can call the Alberta Mental Health Line at 1-877-303-2642. You can also call 988 if you're thinking about suicide. That's 1-877-303-2642. Call the Alberta Mental Health Helpline if you are feeling sad or depressed in Alberta. And you could also call 988 if you're thinking about suicide. No way around it. Today was cold, minus 10 degrees, sure, but that felt like minus 20. And tonight, as we get into the night, it's going to feel like about minus 28 with the wind chill. The temperature will warm up to minus 8 degrees by the morning, minus 14 into the AM. And then tomorrow's daytime high from minus 10 today to minus 2 tomorrow, up to plus 3 for the weekend. So we're in another cold period ending, warm period coming on. The extreme cold weather alert is now gone, and we just have to get through tonight. The high today, minus 10. It's still minus 10. The wind from the south at 20 kilometers an hour. The complete AccuWeather forecast is coming up in just a couple of minutes here on Chat TV. Coming up, go traveling with me to the place where the life of Martin Luther King Jr. lives on. At tonight's City Council meeting, Councillor Shyla Sharps will put forward a motion to prioritize sanctions that were struck down in August of 2024. Justice Rosemary Nation of the Court of King's Bench said the city's councillors appear to have no sense of proportionality in crafting sanctions. The justice said that council had imposed sanctions that have no rational connection with the breach of code. Sharp says that as it has been now 5 months without it appearing on council's agenda, she is prioritizing the issue for immediate deliberation. Sharp says that although not all may agree with Justice Nation's decision, it is council's responsibility to address the matter. She says that there was no ill intention that the issue hasn't been prioritized, but admits that it had gotten away from them. She trusts that council will recognize the urgency of bringing the issue back for discussion. The Tug on the Post Music Festival is a combination of storytelling through history and raw modern music. Medalta has served as the home for the festival for the past decade, but shows will be taking place elsewhere throughout the city this year as well, starting tonight. Jake Sturkenberg brings us the details.
The Tongue on the Post Folk Music Festival will be happening at the historic Medalta facility, the Medicine Hat College, and various cafes in Medicine Hat. Rob Pape, executive director of the Medicine Hat Folk Music Club, says that the significance of the folk genre for the festival is that it serves as a message of the times.
The folk genre is all-encompassing. That's the beauty about a folk music club. It's really about the message of the times. people putting their thoughts and words to music that really relate to what's going on in the times around us.
Nettie Mack is a chairperson in the Medicine Hat Folk Music Club and one of the performers at this year's Tongue on the Post Festival. She says that the festival provides opportunity for diversity.
Well, I think what we do is we provide that opportunity for diversity. We have folks from all different kind of backgrounds and ages and demographics that come to the festival. And, because it's in the winter as well, it's an opportunity to get out of the house and, not be stir crazy and whatnot.
Max says that at this time of year, there are rarely events that are of this size and also family-oriented. She says that there is a large music scene here with amazing talent everywhere. She has been stunned at how the city's community embraces original and live music, namely during a previous festival.
I noticed that, there were a lot of people here, and there was, it was packed. And then when the artists were performing, no one was talking. Everyone was listening intently, to the point where the artist, the lyric that they would be singing, the audience would react to it, either laugh or go, oh, or clap, or they listen.
Pape says that a festival happening in the winter is not often seen. He says artists are very appreciative of the opportunity in the city. He says that every artist involved in the festival has a unique story to tell.
Well, I think it's all relevant to each other artist, and every artist brings that unique element with them. Our headlining event this year, 2 of the 3 headlining acts are award-winning Canadian Indigenous artists, and we're very proud of that.
The Tongue on the Post Folk Music Festival will be happening from January 20 until the 26th. It features 7 days of music all around the city from award-nominated and winning artists. Jake Sturkenberg, Chat News.
Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, observed annually on the 3rd Monday of January in the United States. It's a day to reflect on the profound contributions of a man who championed justice, equality, and peace. Let's go traveling to the place where his life lives on.
With Dan.
At one point not that long ago, you could take a heritage trolley on an 8-kilometer line along the Mississippi River. The Lorraine Motel is just a few blocks away from the trolley. The Lorraine Motel, located at 450 Mulberry Street in downtown Memphis, opened its doors in the mid-1920s. It had 16 rooms and stood just east of the Mississippi River. In 1945, Walter and Lori Bailey bought it and named it after the popular song Sweet Lorraine, which artists including Rudy Valley, Teddy Wilson, and Nat King Cole had recorded. The couple expanded the hotel by adding more guest rooms and drive-up access. The Lorraine Motel became a safe haven for black travelers and visitors to Memphis. The motel was listed in the Negro Motorist's Green Book, also known as the Green Guide, a compilation of hotels, restaurants, gas stations, beauty parlors, barbershops, and other businesses that were friendly to African Americans during the Jim Crow era. Ray Charles, Otis Redding, Aretha Franklin, Louis Armstrong, Sarah Vaughan, and Nat King Cole, among many others, were all guests right here at the Lorraine Hotel. Martin Luther King was the Lorraine Motel's most famous guest. He stayed at the motel numerous times while visiting the city, and again in the spring of 1968. That was when he came to Memphis to support a strike by sanitation workers. On April 4th, 1968, he stepped out of room 306 onto the balcony and talked to friends in the parking lot below. As King turned to walk back into his room, a bullet struck him in the neck, taking his life instantly. The wreath is placed in the exact spot where he stood. Today, the Lorraine Motel is now the home of the National Civil Rights Museum. Opening on September 28, 1991, the mission of the museum is to share the culture and lessons from the American Civil Rights Movement and explore how this significant era continues to shape equality and freedom globally. Using interactive exhibits, historic collections, dynamic speakers, and special events, the museum offers visitors a chance to walk through history and learn more about a tumultuous and inspiring period of change. The exhibits allow you to sit at a segregated lunch counter, in a courtroom, or on a vintage city bus next to Rosa Parks. News reports and famous speeches fill the air with urgency. One highlight remains the same: the hotel room where King spent his final hours. From the time of the shooting, room 306 was never rented again. The room has been preserved to capture exactly what it looked like on that tragic night. There are 2 beds. King was sharing the room with Dr. Ralph Abernathy, a friend. King's bed was not fully made because he wasn't feeling well and had been lying down. Dishes left in the room were from the kitchen where Laurie Bailey prepared food for the motel's guests. Now, the thing that completely shocked me is how just by looking out the window in room 307, right next door, you can see exactly where Dr. King fell and died. He fell right there. I still can't believe you can get that close to such a horrific and hallowed place. The Lorraine Motel still stands on Mulberry Street, and it's still instantly recognizable. It appears as though suspended in another time. These 2 large cars, a white 1959 Dodge Royal with lime green fins and white 1968 Cadillac, are parked in front of the motel to remind people of the vehicle used at the time of the shooting. The National Civil Rights Museum does feature tributes to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but the entire museum, as I've mentioned, isn't all about him. Though the museum is located at the assassination site of Dr. King and pays tribute and homage to the legacy of this great leader, it is devoted to the thousands of people who were a part of the entire civil rights movement. It was a very emotional place to visit. I learned so much during my time there and because of my time there. About 200,000 people visit each year, and they file into this courtyard of what was once the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. Historic Lorraine Motel sign, the original one, is still standing, and the other side features one of Dr. King's most famous quotes. "I have a dream." I spent almost 4 hours at the National Civil Rights Museum. The majority of that time was spent looking at room 306 and looking at that spot on the balcony. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4th, 1968 at the age of 39. He was born on January 15th, which is why the day is celebrated as a holiday in America on the 3rd Monday in January. May he rest in peace.
Traveling with Dan.
Such a great, great man. All right, time for our first break here on tonight's edition of Chat News. We'll be right back. Straight ahead, my guest is Hudson from My 96 FM. He's here to cheer us up on Blue Monday.
There's a great new option to stay up to date on the latest local news from chatnewstoday.ca. It's a free daily newsletter delivered right to your email with links to the day's top stories. Sign up now on chatnewstoday.ca.
Our guest is somebody whose face is not known, but whose voice might be a little bit familiar. Speak for a couple of seconds.
Hi, my name is Hudson.
Hudson can be heard mornings on My 96 FM, and he's here today to make people not be sad. It's the saddest day of the year. It's Blue Monday, named after a New Order song, and it was much like the Hallmark day that is Valentine's Day. A group of people in England put this day together back in the mid-90s because they were sad a month after Christmas.
Well, and also it was a travel agency that really promoted it the first time, saying like, hey, aren't you feeling sad? Why don't you come down and book a holiday to sunny Cardiff?
But it is a sad day. It's the 3rd. I mean, we're like a month into winter. Winter so far in Medicine Hat has been kind of nice,
except for today.
Well,
really
today is nicer
like
than yesterday.
Yeah, good point.
When I woke up this morning and was checking the weather this morning, because that's what I do. I check the weather in the middle of the night as well. Minus 37. So, that's if you're out living in that, that's not good. If you're out walking in that or driving in that. My car this morning went, no thanks.
Yeah, no, my car tried to phone in sick as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's Blue Monday, the 3rd Monday in January. The holidays are now a bygone memory,
I'm sorry, holiday?
Yeah, remember that was that time with the tree?
I know we've got Family Day coming up in February. Oh, February's still a month. Oh, a month. We've got a month away till the holiday. Yeah. I'm glad they named it Blue Monday because that's one of New Order's best hits, and it always gives me a chance. If you don't know who New Order is,
kids, ask your grandparents.
Yeah, they're a band from the '80s who my gosh, they produced some great music, and all of it was upbeat and fun and interesting, and so I'm glad that they named Blue Monday after this day.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to had they stayed Joy Division and today been known as Love Will Tear Us Apart Day.
Wow, you're going deep.
I'm going deep. If I'm teaching the kids to go into the music vault and look some stuff up, I'm going to do that.
There's some good picks there. Yeah.
But is there anything that you do to cheer yourself up when you have a sad or sorrow-filled day?
Oh, well, one thing I do like to do, and maybe this is going to sound weird, but if I am actually kind of feeling down, first thing I want to do is I want to make somebody close to me happy.
Oh, okay.
I'll go out, like if I'm like, oh man, I had like a terrible day today, but I know my friend likes frozen root beer. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get myself, I'm going to go get her a frozen root beer. I lift myself up when I'm feeling down by going like, you know what, I'm going to do something good for somebody else. Or, I pick up the phone and I actually use the phone as a phone and I call them.
Wow.
That's how far I will go.
I have a belief that you're never alone as long as you've got a phone.
Yeah.
And it's good that you reach out and where does that inspirational activity come from?
It just works.
Wow.
If I'm feeling down, if I make somebody else smile, I make somebody else laugh, I make their day a little bit better. I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty good now.
And when you're feeling down, what do other people do to make you feel better?
They have me on their television show.
Oh, look at you. Listen, I'm glad that you're here on the saddest day of the year, because you're one of the few people that can always cheer me up. But we have to pay regards to you as well, because today is one of the 12 or 15 days a year that people who work in radio get patted on the back for working in radio.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you again. Today is National Disc Jockey Day.
National Disc Jockey Day.
Which is different from International Broadcaster Day.
Yeah.
Which is international, or then there's Radio Week.
There's Radio Week. There's Radio Host Day. There's people who used to work in Radio Day.
Yeah.
Now, where did you find that it was National Disc Jockey Day? Was that on one of the cheat sheet information sheets that you guys get in the morning?
We don't get any of those things. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We just...
Yeah. Yeah, the people in radio, they get help with their shows. They
have
get
a team
piles of paper that you can't see, and it's very funny. But where did you dig up that it's National Disc Jockey Day?
Oh, honestly, it's because I've been doing radio for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on 20 years.
Yeah.
There's this thing called Facebook, and every day it shows you your Facebook post from this time last year.
Okay.
And it's literally just, 20 years ago, somebody said, oh, it's National Disc Jockey Day. So all of us radio people, since nobody knows what we look like, we post photos and selfies of us in the studio, and it's just every year. If you have any radio people on your social media, right away they're up there.
So the picture that I saw this morning, was that a new one from today?
Yeah,
was that fresh meat?
this morning.
5:30 this morning. You look good at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, tomorrow morning at 5:30, that's when the show starts. It runs until 10 in the morning. This is Hudson. He can be heard on my mornings on my 96 FM. The only person that I would ever have here on the saddest day of the year.
When this camera goes dark, we're hugging.
Okay. Go dark, camera. Let's hug.
Chat Weather, brought to you by Design Flooring Center. Talk to their experts and find your perfect floor.
Chat Weather, powered by AccuWeather.
Hug we did. All right, so the good news is, as we come to you tonight, the extreme cold warning is gone. It's still pretty darn cold out there, colder than the seasonal average, but at least it's not near minus 40. In the overnight period, we were at minus 37 degrees here in Medicine Hat, and that's a lot closer to minus 40. Tonight, we're going to be near minus 12. The temperature will warm up to minus 8 degrees. With the wind chill, we're going to be minus 28, but the temperature will warm up to minus 14. So we're not going to be anywhere near the minus 42.2 set back in 1954. Today we did get to minus 10 degrees though, and it's still minus 10 out there. The thing about these days where it gets very cold is the temperature doesn't shift around or switch that much. Once it hits a high or a low, it just sort of stays there. Partly cloudy, minus 10 right now. The wind from the southwest gusting up to 30, southwest gusting up to 40 kilometers an hour. That wind will become light around midnight as well. And the visibility right now is 48, so it's partly cloudy, but clear and a little bit windy, and maybe a little bit icy out there, so if you have to drive, obviously be careful. Bow Island is minus 15, Brooks minus 11, Drumheller minus 17, Edmonton minus 10. It's only minus 6 in Calgary, and it's only minus 3 in Lethbridge. Meanwhile, over in Saskatchewan, still minus 24 in Saskatoon, still minus 29 in Regina. Swift Current is minus 21, it's minus 18 in Leader and minus 13 in Maple Creek. Clear just about everywhere. And once we get to the radar has that system that you can see, the blues that are sinking down, but not coming down toward Medicine Hat. What we've not been seeing in the last couple of weeks on the radar is a lot of moisture, a lot of snow, a lot of anything falling in the mountains. That's got to affect the snowpack. And even on the Futurecast, there's not a lot. There's a little bit that's going to be falling in the mountains, but there's not a lot. That's got me thinking the word I don't like to think as far as when we're getting out of all of this stuff. Drought! Other little bit flurries tomorrow. We could see maybe about 5 centimeters of snow in Medicine Hat tomorrow. Yeah, there's a 60% chance of up to 5 centimeters of snow falling in our region tomorrow, but it doesn't quite look like we're going to get 5 centimeters of snow according to AccuWeather forecast. But the high tomorrow near minus 2 with the wind chill, that'll feel like minus 8. The good news is with all of the cold, we were able to see some beautiful pictures like this. So cold out of there on Friday night, the lights were heading upwards with the ice crystals in the air. Very cool to see. Michelle took this picture and sent it into weatherpics at chatnewstoday.ca. And yeah, you know it's cold when the ice crystals are putting all the lights like, my gosh, that was cold on Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday. The weather picture brought to you by Prestige Windows and Doors. Michelle, thank you very much for sending it in. And thank you very much for watching Chat News. We're back with a recap of tonight's top story for you after these messages. Still to come, Donald Trump was sworn in today for a second term. We'll look at whether he's implemented tariffs against Canada yet. Missing us on your socials? Download our app. It's Monday night, January 20th, and he is officially back in office. Donald Trump was sworn in today for a second term. Because of cold weather, the ceremony was moved inside the U.S. Capitol and took place in the same hall where Trump's supporters tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power 4 years ago. In keeping with tradition, Trump's family was there along with former presidents, including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who ran against Trump and lost. He wasted little time immediately signing off on a slew of executive orders, notably those major tariffs he had threatened against Canada. Didn't appear to be among them for now. Jackson Proskow has been covering today's events in Washington.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
It is reassuring to witness the peaceful transfer of power to the leader of the most powerful democracy in the world. Reassuring because it was a peaceful transfer not accepted by the outgoing president 4 years ago. Yet it's that very president who is back, more sure of his grip on power.
We will stand bravely. We will live proudly.
Donald Trump's speech was, in one sense, more unifying than the American carnage he described 8 years ago.
And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs.
The spirited pushback that existed with the Women's March that brought out millions of Americans one day after the inauguration has been replaced by grudging acceptance by his critics, while his supporters, including some of the wealthiest Americans, believe long overdue change is coming.
And I will send troops to the southern border.
He suggests a more conservative America, using the military against undocumented immigrants, and beyond America's borders, vows to take back the Panama Canal. Progressive advancements from gender inclusiveness to combating the crisis of climate change are off his agenda.
We will drill, baby, drill.
What will it mean for this country? A year in which Canada will get a new prime minister and maybe two? The last time we saw 3 prime ministers in 1 year was 32 years ago. And there was a new president in 1993. But Bill Clinton, like Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush and so many other U.S. presidents, put a premium on good trade relations with this country, deals that both governments could embrace. That is not what Donald Trump is planning with this prime minister or whoever comes next.
I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families.
His promise of steep trade tariffs did not materialize, but he says they're coming.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
The peaceful transfer of power that Canada welcomes as America's next-door neighbor and friend also came with a message of America first that for many Canadians was anything but reassuring. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
Did say he still intends to tariff and tax foreign countries, and he's directed the U.S. government to study trade policies and evaluate relations with China, Mexico, and Canada. David Aiken has been speaking to Canadians in Washington today.
Donald Trump believes he'll make America rich off taxes paid by foreigners.
Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens.
But there were no new tariffs on Trump's first day, though they might come later. Trump has ordered an investigation and review of all of America's trade deals, including the one with Canada. Alberta's premier calls it a reprieve.
I was pleased to see that we don't have tariffs today.
And it's a reprieve Canada cannot waste.
It's now up to us to demonstrate why that would harm the American consumer more than it would help. And I think we have a really good case to make.
Canada's trade minister says the country is ready to renew the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement, or as it's known, CUSMA.
But we've been doing this for months. I mean, since August, my department and the government of Canada has been out talking to, having consultations with a range of stakeholder groups in Canada and others. About the trade relationship, about CUSMA, about the review that was to come up.
For business groups, the goal of this talk is pretty clear.
Number one, avoid any tariffs. Let's work through and strengthen the agreement we already have, even though, we'll be prepared for any scenario.
And the uncertainty around Trump's plans still creates economic risk.
The constant threat of tariffs, the instability, the chaos, and what that does for investment today and investment in the future and over the next 4 years into Canada. And we all know investment means jobs.
And that means the full court press by Canadian politicians and business groups needs to continue.
From the business community's perspective, we remain in high gear. No kind of foot off the gas pedal based on what we heard today.
We want to be the partner of choice. We're not just the friendly neighbor of the North. I want to be seen as the strategic partner of choice.
Business leaders and provincial government representatives have also been telling me that this tariff reprieve, so long as it lasts, should be used to, first of all, diversify Canadian trade, and second, get rid of interprovincial trade barriers. That, they say, will be the best thing to prepare Canada's economy for whatever trade decisions the United States might make.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu congratulated President Trump today and thanked him for helping free 3 Israeli hostages. Netanyahu has also said the ceasefire is temporary. What that means for the future is unclear. Jeff Semple is following developments from Tel Aviv tonight.
Even surrounded by death, Gaza suddenly surged back to life. Street markets reopening, buzzing with activity, as 2 million residents tried to return to their homes and pick up the pieces. I feel alive again since I came back home, even if it is rubble, she says. 600 aid trucks are now arriving each day, compared with just 40 trucks before the ceasefire. And Palestinians in the West Bank are also embracing a homecoming. 90 Palestinians imprisoned by Israel were released overnight, sparking celebrations in the streets. Most were women, including Nida Zakabi, reunited with her 3 young children. The lawyer was arrested 5 months ago, accused of supporting terrorism. Her husband is still in prison. The feeling is indescribable, she says. I have never been away from my daughters for so long. The list of those released included Palestinian political activists, while others are convicted murderers.
This is my father.
Maytel Offer's father was killed a decade ago.
Yeah.
The 61-year-old former Israeli colonel was attacked in his home by 2 Hamas militants armed with axes. Offer was stabbed dozens of times. One of his attackers, who confessed, is now on the list of those set to be released from prison.
He's a bloody hell terrorist.
Ofer said at first she was horrified, but when she saw these images of the 3 Israeli hostages reunited with their families, she says the sacrifice was worth it.
When I saw the 3 women having a hug from their mothers and from their families, I really felt that my father is hugging me.
For the first time since the hostages were released, their 3 Israeli families faced the cameras with a message.
Please keep on fighting for the remaining 94 hostages who need to come home. There are too many other families who are waiting to hug their loved ones or bring them back for a proper burial.
Time for another quick break here on Chat TV. We'll be right back with sports for you. On the way in sports, Edmonton superstar Connor McDavid will have a meeting with the NHL soon after being penalized for cross-checking.
There's a great new option to stay up to date on the latest local news from chatnewstoday.ca. It's a free daily newsletter delivered right to your email with links to the day's top stories. Sign up now on chatnewstoday.ca.
Chat Sports brought to you by Mobile One Auto Service and Lube Express. Drive in, drive out, drive happy.
The Larry Godden Classic Sledge Hockey Tournament took place this weekend. The showcase game featured a face-off between the Medicine Hat Police Service and the Medicine Hat Firefighters. Medicine Hat Adaptive Sport and Recreation hosted the games, and they were presented by the Community Vibrancy Grant through the city. Jake Sturkenberg made a visit to witness the friendly competition.
I'm here at the Big Marble Ghost Center, and I'm here with Chad Peacock and Mitch Young. Chad, who are you representing today?
The Medicine Hat Firefighters.
And Mitch?
I'm with the Medicine Hat Police Service.
And we're here at the Sledge Hockey Tournament, and that is for whom?
The Larry Godden Classic for Medicine Hat Adaptive Sport and Recreation.
All right, now the police service and the firemen. Am I sensing a little friendly competition here?
Yeah, of course. There's always some friendly competition, but it's all in good fun, and we're definitely here to support a good cause.
For sure. And what's this cause that you're representing this weekend?
So we're just bringing a light to the sledge hockey sport in general. It's meant for everybody to play, and that's the wonderful thing about Medicine Hat Adaptive is all abilities, all ages. Doesn't matter if you have a disability or not, you can play this sport. And the sledge is the great equalizer, and everybody's here just to have a great time and have some fun.
Larry Godden has been a key figure in the development of sledge hockey in Canada since it began. He's also played a crucial role in the revival of the sport in the city through his involvement with the Medicine Hat Hockey Hounds. Leland Nickerson, a member with Medicine Hat Adaptive Sport and Recreation, was a part of the conception of sledge hockey in Canada in 1979 as a child. Nickerson says that anybody is welcome to play the inclusive sport.
It's all inclusive, so anybody's welcome. Anybody and everybody of all abilities and disabilities.
Devin Harnick, another member of Medicine Hat Adaptive Sport and Recreation, says that the community the organization has created is life-changing.
Oh, it's unreal because I used to play stand-up hockey. Now I can't, so I play sledge hockey. So it basically brings me back to the sport of hockey, which I couldn't play, and now I can play. So it gives me a new sense of life, pretty much.
Chad Peacock, member with the Medicine Hat Firefighters, says that they didn't have to hold back when playing with some of the kids who were alongside them on the ice.
Oh gosh, no. They were skating circles around us from the get-go. So the kids are amazing. It's a testament to how hard they work during practice and everything like that. So no, and it shows us how hard this actually is to do. So it was a really great time all around.
Constable Mitch Young with Medicine Hat Police Service says that it surprised him how difficult sledge hockey was to play.
I've played hockey my whole life, and this is completely different. Like it's a brand new thing. Like I said, it's like learning to walk again.
The game ended with the firefighters taking the lead with a score of 3-2 against the police service. In a sport that anyone can take part in, determination remains the defining factor for whoever will come out on top. Jake Sturkenberg, Chat News.
Good stuff. Hey, Edmonton superstar Connor McDavid and Vancouver defenseman Tyler Myers still have to meet with the NHL today. This comes after being assessed match penalties in the final seconds of Saturday's 3-2 Canucks win. McDavid was penalized for Get ready for it. So Garland is holding him down. He's trying to get up. He's trying to get away. Garland is holding him. He's holding him. And McDavid has at this point had enough. And he cross-checks him right across the face. So that was with 3 seconds left in the game. While Myers received the same penalty for striking Oilers defenseman Evan Bouchard, the teams are set to meet again Thursday in Edmonton. The NHL will meet with the two of them before then. On the ice tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs host the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Atlantic Division leading Leafs have won 2 straight and 7 of their last 10. Toronto and Tampa Bay is already underway. There is no score. Also tonight, the Western Conference leading Winnipeg Jets of Mr. Bob Schneider fame visit Utah. That game starts at 7:30. A hockey player from Irvine on the under-18 female Bulldogs team has been signed by the Medicine Hat College Rattlers. She had been scouted by other colleges, however, she made the decision to stay in Medicine Hat to play. The process for creating the team began in January of 2024, and 15 girls joined for the upcoming season. Terrell Hutchinson, coach of Irvine's U18 female Bulldogs team, says that one of their goals is to keep players here in Medicine Hat and surrounding areas. She says that with the team, they want to provide an opportunity to develop the players.
Well, that was one of the primary drivers, was to create opportunities here for our female athletes, and we have a lot of talent within the city and surrounding areas, and we just wanted to showcase that and then provided an opportunity to develop the players and have them compete at a higher level for post-secondary.
Key person who was signed by the Rattlers is paving the way for other players. She says that it creates more possibilities for new things to be built here in Medicine Hat and the college. She says that more teams will open up, allowing more girls and players of any sport to achieve more than what is currently available. She says all of their hard work is paying off.
Once we put in this hard work and stuff, it builds, and then in the end, it pays off, because then we're able to go to the teams that we want to, or join the classes that we want to for schooling. And without that hard work and effort put into the team, into the stuff that we're doing, it makes it hard to achieve our own goals.
Hutchinson spoke with Chat News this past summer when the Irvine girls team had started to develop. She says it's great to see these opportunities now come to their athletes and that it's a full circle moment for the team. It sure is. Congrats to them all. Time for us to step out for just a few more messages. Stick around for the 7-day forecast. We'll be right back. When we return, the second season of the dystopian thriller Severance is now streaming. Missing us on your socials? Just download our app. The first episode of the second season of the What the Heck is Happening thriller Severance is now streaming. It's back, it's very welcome, and Rick Damigella talked with the cast for the Hollywood Minute.
I give consent to sever my memories between my work life and my personal life.
Adam Scott's Mark Scout character is back in the office in the second season of Severance.
Everything they told you about Severance is a lie.
The series' popularity during its first season meant different things to the cast.
Once the billboards went up, when I saw my face really huge up above traffic in Los Angeles, that I kind of freaked out and thought, oh my God, I love this show.
Whenever I'd run across somebody like on a social network or something talking about the show, I would then sort of tell them to go back to their cubbyhole or make a joke.
For me, it was just a terrific opportunity to not only be with Ben Stiller, who I've known for a very long time. I was friends with his parents, and John Turturro, who I've known for even longer. We were young actors together in New York.
Ben Stiller has this advice for anyone who slept on season 1 but are interested in the show.
I would say, yeah, if you're looking for something that's weird, emotional, funny, strange, discomforting, sure, yeah, then we're your show.
What is it we actually do here? In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
It's horrible that they only put one episode a week online. I want to know what's happening. That's my Severance impatience there. No impatience as far as the weather's concerned. The warm-up has already begun. We're getting to -8 from -10. And then tomorrow will be as warm as 0. Yes, we were -20 yesterday. All right, so we're going to be in 0 Tuesday. A little bit of snow. We might see 5 centimeters. It's possible. There's a 60% chance of that much, but the AccuWeather forecast doesn't look like there will be that much. And by Monday again, this time next week, we're up to 3 degrees. So the cold stuff is gone. Still a couple of nights with double digits, but nicer days are here than this past weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at noon and 5 for you. Take care.